Hi, this is Sweet June coming back at you with another video. Sitting up here chilling. I want to bring attention to, if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Um, this case out of Indiana, it has not made the national news. Um, about this young lady named TaNeasha Chappell. TaNeasha Chappell, 23-year-old young black lady, died in Indiana while she was in custody at an Indiana jail. She went. I don't know what charges she was brought up on. She was in the Indiana jail. Um, I don't know. Allegedly, she was beaten up. She fell ill. She kept calling out for help. So, trying to make a long story short, she kept calling out for help. They wouldn't help her. They kept trying to say she was faking. Um, by the time they got her to the hospital, she died. Now, I know everybody's familiar with the Sandra Bland case. Um, this has happened to other black women as well. I don't know why this hasn't made national news, but I want to bring attention to it. Um, it was placed on my heart to bring attention to this case because a news alert came on my phone earlier. TaNeasha Chappell, she died in custody of an Indiana jail. I've been checking the major news outlets. I looked at the national news tonight on CBS. They talked about this young black man that got shot by a police officer. I'm not sure where that was at. They did talk about that. Now that made national news. But this didn't make national news. I have not seen this story in any other national news outlets. But a news alert came across my phone this morning. I said, well, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to put it out there. Um, it just it just really upsets me because it just seems like nobody cares about what happens to black women. You know, black women have to deal with racism as well as sexism. We not only have to deal with racism, we have to deal with sexism. And it just seems like nobody cares. If something happens to a black woman, nobody cares. Sandra Bland didn't get justice. This young lady, I think they got Kevin Crump on the case, I think. So the family's going to try to take legal action against the jail. Um, you can Google it. It is on Google. I just Googled it before I did this video. So you can Google it. But it has not made national news. I checked YouTube. I just checked YouTube. Nobody's talking about it on YouTube yet. But I'll give it a couple more days. So it just placed on my heart to come on here and I want to bring more attention to it. Because it just seems like when something happens to black women, um, when black women get beat up, killed by the police or whatever, it doesn't make the news like when it happens to black men. And it doesn't always make news when it happens to black men, but more more cases with black men make news than with black women. The Breonna Taylor situation made national news because that happened around the same time as the George Floyd, and everybody marched nationwide. So that was a timing situation. But most of the time, Sandra Bland, that made national news. But most of the time, there has been other cases of black women dying, getting killed by the police, dying in police custody. It does not make national news. So, you know, black women don't get the same press as black men. So I'm bringing attention to the story, bringing it to your attention from me. I just think it's sad. This young lady was only 23 years old. She was a mother. She had one child. Um, they said allegedly she got beat up. She was vomiting and she was ill. You know, they said she couldn't hardly walk. She kept hollering and calling out for help. They kept accusing her of faking, and they just ignored her. They ignored her cries. And by the time they took her to the hospital, she died. She was a beautiful young lady. So this should not be happening to black women. I mean, this should not happen to black men, black women. This shouldn't be happening to anybody. But it just seems like when it happens to a black woman, it just doesn't make the news like when it happens to black men. You know, so far, I haven't seen anybody talking about it on YouTube. I haven't seen it on the national news. I looked at the CBS Evening News last night, and they did talk about a black man got shot somewhere by the police. They showed the video and everything. So that made national news. Well, I'm glad it did. But this case um, with Chappell, it's not making national news. I don't understand why. So maybe I'm gonna give it a couple of days. Maybe they will talk about it. I don't know, but it just seems like when stuff like this happens to black women, it doesn't get the press. Like nobody cares about what happens to black women. It's a shame, and it's very very disturbing to me because this can happen to anybody. This can happen to me. This can happen to a black woman in my family. This can happen to any of us black women out there. This can happen to any of us. And the fact that we don't get the justice and we don't get our attention like black men is very appalling to me. Now, not all cases with black men get attention, but the cases with black men get attention before with black women. The black cases with black women. There's a lot of cases like this with black women that has not made national news. So it's been on my heart to come on here to spread awareness, bring attention to this particular case. Um, it's really sad. She was only 23 years old. And I hope and pray, my heart and prayers go out to the family, and I pray that they will get justice and get to the bottom of this and find out what happened. There's a lot of racism in the system, people. A lot of racism in the system is integrated into the system. And there's a lot of racist cops. Now, I'm not saying that there's a lot of good cops out there, but there's a lot of racist cops out there. And Indiana is a very racist state. Well, all of them are racist, but I heard that they were real racist. So hit me up in the comment section. Let me know if you heard about this story. Her name is TaNeasha Chappell, 23-year-old black lady that died in Indiana while she was in custody of an Indiana jail. Go ahead and Google it. I Googled it. It's on Google. Um, Let me know if you heard anything about this story. Okay, go ahead and hit that subscribe, like, and share. Until the next video, peace and love. This is Sweet Gina.